Chair 2, Feminism, is everything that's wrong with current society. Since you're studying feminism, you should read Rachel's book, Occult Feminism. Feminism is hurting both men and women. Your response to that?
Again, I don't lay the blame for the decline of Western culture entirely on feminism. I think feminism overall has benefited us in general because our grandmothers and great-grandmothers weren't having as good a time. So I think the decline of the West is not necessarily entirely the fault of women or feminism.
Can you paint a picture of, you said grandmothers were not having a great time.
Well,
can you paint a picture of what you're talking about? And is this universal, like all grandmothers were having a bad time? Some grandmothers,
I'm saying
50%?
Generally speaking, historically, right?
Yeah.
Our mothers, all of our mothers, had a better experience going through life, having more just choices to be a human being and how they wanted to live, versus, let's say, our mother's great-grandmother.
I would say that's like, so there's so many variables that you're ignoring on that though. I would say, yeah, that's true, but it's because my great-grandparents were like first generation
No, there's different variables. I'm just saying,
like, what does that have to do?
in a general historical sense, women of a previous generation, not the modern one, had a more curtailed life.
I would agree. And so I think that most people's gripe is that they feel that it stopped being like having a disparity, like probably whatever your time frame is, 10, 30, 50 years ago, and things have been equal for a long time. So then it's like, we don't need like any more improvement for the future generation, I think is like a primary gripe. Or that we're like at an equal spot.
Are you saying you think women today are happier than they were, than your grandparents were?
I don't know how to measure happiness. I'm saying in general, the rights to be who you are in the world have expanded over time for everybody, but also for women. His mother grew up in a post-feminist society, right? Everyone's mother grew up in a post-feminist society. Mm-hmm. And I would say that our great-grandmothers might have not enjoyed as much as our mothers enjoyed growing up in a post-feminist society. So.
I think the quality of life is getting better in general. They didn't have like Uber, they didn't have like all these things, all these conveniences.
It's part of it. It's all part of it. It's progress. It's all part of the march towards whatever.
Where do you think women got the idea that they should be out working or
well, women didn't get any idea.
Where
World War II pushed women into the workforce basically because men were fighting.
Wasn't meant to be forever.
Exactly, but that was the outcome. It pushed women into the workforce, and after that, there was many men were murdered in the World War II. Right, there was a massive slaughter of men, and so after that, women were in the workforce. It was a historical thing. It wasn't a decision.
But weren't they just making like bullet cases or something? Like it wasn't like they were like
they were making munitions. They were building munitions.
They work in factories mostly.
Yeah.
They do now still. So.
Yeah, that's what pushed women, and they stayed there because that's it was just what happened. It wasn't necessarily due to feminism. It was because there was a war.
But they kept us there because of feminism.
No, actually, didn't they? A lot of
women went back. Women went back into the 1950s. Was a retraction. Women went back into homemaking.
But who cares about these like romanticized like time periods of like whatever the?
Because that was the greatest time.
No,
ever.
I'm just. What was the greatest time?
The 50s.
Okay.
Oh, please.
I didn't listen. I'm not responsible for what women decided to do in the 60s and 70s.
If it wasn't for men, we wouldn't have them anyways. Men were the majority decision makers of what we have right now. So
in terms of women's rights, yes. Women were the ones responsible, not men. In terms of actual legal...
Who allowed you to be,
women were actually fighting back against women's suffrage, unfortunately.
I want to vote and stuff. It was men. Men were the ones that granted everything.
Okay, why do you give so much credit to men, though?
Because they're the ones that gave us this. They built this. They gave us this.
I think she's right in saying if men had made a general decision that no, you're not going to allow women to work in the workforce, they would not be working in the workforce.
That's true.
So at some point they decided, sure, go ahead, get a job if you want to get a job.
I mean,
there were different situations. So like the first wave, right? First wave of feminism. If we're talking about feminism.
Yeah, thank
The
you, ma'am.
first wave of feminism, men weren't deciding anything. Women were throwing themselves under horses at races, horse races. They were putting bombs in mailboxes.
What are you
Just look
talking
it up.
about?
Look up. There's a film about it, Carrie Mulligan. But that was how they got
This
the
is
right to
Unabomber.
vote in England, in the
Who cares
UK.
about
Word.
England? They don't have guns.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying I'm just stating factual information.
All I was gonna say is I feel like the pitfalls is like we're all like fighting invisible arguments, and not everything should be like entirely gendered like that. Like sure, there's pitfalls of society. Men aren't to give credit for everything, and I don't think any of us are saying that men are to give credit for everything. Like
Think your washing machine and your lights and your fridge.
So, like, you're saying that
That's all part of it, the convenience. That also
thank
helped.
you.
That gave women more time. Because before that, women were having to do
Make
all
it
of it
easier at home.
physically.
Make
Yeah.
it easier at home for
So
you.
that more time, thanks to like technology, that also was part of it. You know, it's all part of it. You know, it's all integrated into one thing. It doesn't matter.
and then we still had to take our shoes off when we got here. Sexism is still alive and well on YouTube.
it's true.
That's not what I'm
So, I guess can you explain a little better though? I was asking you. So you're saying that in the grandma's generation, great grandmas, beyond, like going further back beyond that,
Yeah.
what was the, I guess, differential choice? Like women had more choice.
Women
less choice.
did not have as much of legal personhood as they do now. Women had less legal, economic, social personhood. Now they have more autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's legal and it's also economic. It's mainly economic,
Yeah,
actually.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Equal opportunities. being
Okay, but
granted.
so I mean, there's a whole bunch of angles to approach this from. So yeah, I guess there's more choice now. I'm not sure if these choices have led women to make decisions that make them more or less happy.
Well, I don't know. Maybe people here want to go back and live in whatever time, but I think everyone's happy living now, right?
Given the choice.
I mean,
No one
there
here's
does
trying to
seem-
go back to 19 whatever.
I mean, there does seem to
10.
be some dispute over this.
You
I
wanna
mean, this
go
idea,
live in
though, this idea that women are going to find ultimate fulfillment in a career versus having a family and children, and we can see this with the declining birth
I don't
rates.
agree with that. I don't agree that
Agree
there's
with what?
ultimate fulfillment
I
in
do.
just a career.
I do.
You think it's just a career?
Yeah, I think you can.
I think everything is the same as it is for men. Men are fulfilled by family and a career. So are women.
Well, do you think that men
Yeah.
and women are exactly the same?
No, I don't. I just think that we're all to put the burden of only family on women is, I'm saying, unfair because women are also human beings who want to do things sometimes.
Only fams.
Besides that,
Like fams, like families.
only
want a
fams,
straight
yeah,
life?
only fams. No, I'm not precluding. I'm not saying only one thing is okay. I'm saying there's more options. You can do more things.
But what do you
Yeah.
think?
It sounds like more work.
What do you think is? What would be from your perspective, the best way to arrange society and families?
I mean, the way they're now is the way they've been. I don't know. I don't think there needs to be a retraction. I'm saying as it is now, women can decide what they want to do is fine. I'm not saying there needs to be a retraction. Yeah.
Do you think it's the case that it's better for children that the mothers are doing the bulk or exclusive, and just to be clear, I'll clarify, the exclusive caretaking of the children, as opposed to the woman goes to work so that she can pay for daycare or a babysitter or childcare? Do you think it's better for the children that the mother's doing that instead of some stranger that's getting paid $20 an hour or less?
I mean, I think it's a very case-by-case thing, right?
Okay, who do
Everyone
you
raises
think-
their kids differently.
Sure, but who do you
Yeah.
think is going to take better care of children?
Well, I
The
can give
mom
my example. You want me to give
or
my example? I don't know
generally
other
speaking?
people's life
well,
story.
anecdotally, maybe your mom. Are you about
My
to say
mom-
your mom did not do a good job, or what?
No, I was going to say my parents equally raised me. They were both involved equally, and they both worked equally,
But-
and I didn't have a nanny.
Okay, but so
People arrange things differently.
right, but
Yeah.
there is going to be, okay, so just to be clear, your mom and dad, they both worked full time?
Yeah,
Okay, so
both. My
who-
mom worked the night shift and my dad worked the day shift, and they both had the same job, respiratory therapist at the hospital. And my dad died, and now my mom is still earning a living because she went into the same profession as my
Okay,
dad.
so that might work for some people.
So I'm saying it's
although-
case by case. It's not like people arrange their lives differently.
Sure, and there can be
Yeah.
all kinds of arrangements, but
Yeah.
you will acknowledge, I assume you can and will acknowledge that a lot of women, if they're both people are in the workforce, they're going to pass on their kids to childcare, daycare, or something like this.
Yes, they do that.
Okay,
Sure.
and do you think that that's optimal?
No.
It depends on what daycare they go to. There's
Okay,
good
well, I don't
daycares
think-
and bad daycares.
I don't think it's ever typically a good thing. Like if there's the option for the mother to be taking care of the kids versus passing it off to some daycare, I
Well-
think it's always better for the mother to be
Well,
involved
women make
versus
decisions
childcare.
sometimes to not go to work during the period when they really have to be there, like from the early years, but then they go back. You're saying like one thing precludes the other, that a woman needs to stop working entirely to raise children. That's not the case.
Well, it's not the case.
Yeah.
You came with, or your parents, excuse me, they were able to come to some sort of arrangement
Yes.
that you didn't have to go to child support. But that's obviously not the case for all family dynamics. And so I'm just asking simply like, and I would actually think that your dynamic that you have is perhaps uncommon. I think when situations where both parents have to work, there's probably going to be like some third party involved in raising the children, which I think is less ideal than if it was just the mother.
I mean, I noticed that the women who had the most childcare had the most free time because I went to school with wealthier people.
Okay, well, do you
And
prioritize-
mothers liked having nannies because they could afford them.
Do you prioritize
Yeah.
free time or do you prioritize time spent raising your children and taking care of your children?
I'm saying they're not mutually exclusive. You can do both. You can go to work and raise kids.
Okay, but so while you're at work, who's taking care of the kids?
I'm saying you can make the decision to leave work while the kids need you to be there full time. And then once they're at a point where you can have a different arrangement, you can go back to work. You don't have to be at home your entire life because you had a kid.
Okay, but am I just making this up? There's not like a child care industry? Like you're saying it's
There
like
was
really
always
unusual.
childcare.
Like it's really unusual for there to be daycares and babysitters and childcare and nanny. There's a
Okay.
lot of this going on.
Yeah.
And
In-
so like
in
I don't know how big
previous-
the industry is.
In previous societies, what replaced daycare was that it was more of a community thing. You had a familial, you had a grandma raising the kid, you had an aunt, you had a this, you had a that.
or you had
now
a
you have
housewife
daycare.
taking care of the child.
But that was a very specific set. That wasn't universal. Even going back through the ages, there were different things that were happening. People were raising kids different ways. It wasn't always exclusively one homemaker.
Yeah, sure, it wasn't exclusive, but that was more so the case than it is the case now.
It's an idea from the 50s that women are the homemaker and that's it, and there's no one else involved. But if you look at societies anywhere, you can notice there's a communal child raising thing
Which
happening.
societies are you referencing?
I don't know, pick any of them, man.
But it's not just from the 50s.
You're making the claim. You tell me which societies.
Even in America, you go back and you look that there was more of a family thing, extended family. Extended families helped raise kids.
Yeah, I'm okay with grandmas like taking care of the kids.
Okay, but that's what happens,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, sure, but like, are all instances where the mom goes to work? Is it always an immediate family member who's picking up the slack?
The burden of childcare has never exclusively been laid on the back of one woman because that's impossible. Women have always had help.
Impossible.
Women
But sure-
have always had help.
Okay, sure, they've had help, but there would not be a child care industry if it wasn't the case that women were going to work. And again, it's out of necessity. They need to make money because of the current economic status of things, but this child care industry would not exist. So you're trying to point to, well, there's all these other
The child
dynamics.
care industry is just a supplement to people who can't have a familial or community system of support, so
Okay,
they need to pay for it.
So let me ask, like a
Yeah.
woman who, let's say the first 5 years of a child's life, and then you have a woman who has a 9-to-5 job, what is she like from the hours of 9 to 5? Where's that child going to be?
Like
Is she gonna be in
I said,
childcare?
from the ages of 1 to 5, there's women who make the decision to stay home and raise kids. But then when the kid is old enough to be in school, they generally tend to go back to work.
How long is the typical maternity leave from work?
No, I'm saying there's different.
It's 5 years? You think the typical maternity leave is 5 years?
I'm saying I know women who
the moms
stopped working, right? They took leave. I'm not talking maternity leave. I'm just talking they decided to stop working for a period of time when the kid was still growing up. And then they went back to work later. It's not like a lifetime commitment to being at home. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know. You kind of have like women sort of living.
I don't know what you think the lifetime of women looks like. Just sitting at home, they raise their kid. The kid's at school, they just sit at home when the kid's at school. Women do things.
They might be.
I'm lucky enough to
homeschooling,
have
much to
they're
clean a
taking
house.
care of the house.
No, but I'm saying that
once you're a mom, you're
Like
like
2
there
hours.
though.
Not only that, and I think
That whole little thing following you around.
when you reference prior times, yes, there was a lot of community, but ultimately, you're saying what you're saying basically the same thing that we're trying to, or that I think I would promote, is that there was grandmas, there was aunts, there were maternal figures. So even if it's not mom, you still have the maternal figure taking care and raising the children, right? And I grew up going to daycare, right? That's all I know. So to me, no big deal, right? But I think in the last few years, as I come into new information and learn more, I see that this, again, order exists for a purpose. And I think that the optimal idea is for mothers to raise their children.
I'm not arguing against mothers raising their children.
I know you're not.
I'm saying women don't have to sit at home their entire life because they have a kid. Then that's never been the case either. Women always worked.
No, but it does alter what you're like capable of doing. You can't just up and go to Germany. You can't just like there's all these other responsibilities.
Hey, chat, really quick. Has the stream quality been okay? Because somebody sent me a message telling me the stream quality has not been the best. I think looking at our end, the bit rate for the stream is much lower than usual. We might have had some sort of